Kale is absolutely dog shit.
Now
Look,
sponsored.
Yeah, if you
Hardly Civil, now
don't cook
sponsored
it
by
right,
Kale.
if you cook it like a goddamn hippie with all bland ass shit, you put spices in it and fucking hot sauce, bacon fat, kale's good.
This is a southern sin. I'm taking your gun away, Riley.
Okay, look, buddy.
How dare you? You're gonna have a man bun within a month.
You're gonna get it from my cold dead hands, pal. I'm gonna make kale grenades. Throw them at you.
My kale shall not be infringed.
It is in the Constitution that I must and I will, without a shadow of doubt, kill you for eating kale.
Look, a well-regulated digestive system being necessary to the security of a free body, the right of the people to keep and bear superfoods shall not be infringed.
All right,
It says it. Constitution.
Revelations 1936. Kale is whack.
And welcome to Hardly Civil, folks. It's me, your boy. And,
Zach, I'm
with the
supposed
boy.
to do the damn intro. Okay, that's my job. You're not controlling
This argument's
shit.
going to go.
I will
like,
mute you for
hours.
the rest of this goddamn podcast.
Are we rolling?
We are rolling.
Are we live?
Yeah, we're
live.
live.
Oh shit. Well, yeah, like he said, welcome to Hardly Civil, the podcast where we talk shit and don't give a fuck.
We're not civilized folk here. There's no boundaries, I don't think.
Hardly Civil.
No boundaries required here. Very, very free speech podcast.
So, do you guys want to talk about your week?
My week, I'm sick. I've been taking shots of Dayquil, and that's about my week so far. So, suck my dick.
I got the fucking con sickness. I didn't even go to the damn con.
Yeah, I've been pretty sick at work too from the convention, and so today I decided to take it upon myself to just piss off the most oppressed group of all, the gamers.
Rise up.
There's a
Gangweed.
Gangweed boys. There's
Bobby text.
No, Zach. Before we get in, before we get into this topic, I know this is something that you've been very eager to talk about.
Yes,
very
the gamers were oppressed once again.
Now, before we go on, I want to make it very clear that this is a very kid-friendly show, and we would not want to make any person with any multicolored hair or slightly overweight quite angry with us over our discussion.
Wait,
Okay.
really?
No, not at all, bro. I don't give a
Fuck.
shit.
Oh,
Let it
thank
rip,
God,
Zach.
man.
Let it rip, Zach.
Yeah, let's hear this.
So, and when I go over this, I want to make it clear that I am not against the whole, like, you know, what happened. Basically, what I'm eager to talk about is Gay 76. Soldier 76 has now been confirmed gay. You're probably thinking that I'm upset that he's gay. I don't give a shit, to be honest. I don't care if he's gay. I don't care if he's straight. I don't care if he's bi. I don't care if he's trans. Because, in my opinion, a character's sexuality or gender is so little that it shouldn't matter that much to a character. It can be good story arc or whatever, but I don't think it's that big of a deal. But the big thing I'm wanting to get into about it with is the entitled fans that demand that Jeff, Kaplan, whoever's in charge of Overwatch, bring more diversity to an already diverse cast of characters in Overwatch. They want more representation. They want more gay characters. They want more POC characters, and they want more trans characters or what have you. So Jeff, being the gracious God Emperor that he is, gives us not one, but two gay characters.
Count them two.
And gave them two, Tracer and Soldier 76. The most recent one being Soldier, and everybody. There's a main group that is happy that it happened, but there's a little small percent that is genuinely upset that they did that because no, not like that. Don't do it like that. Why isn't he trans? Why isn't he this? Why isn't he like literally my fan fiction I have in my head? Come on, Jeff, read my mind. Make my fan fiction true. That's basically my whole rage is just entitled fans, and making them angry is possibly the best thing ever whenever you tell them your headcanon doesn't matter. It literally doesn't matter. They're going to make whatever makes the most money. do you honestly think that Blizzard gives a shit about your sexuality? No, they don't. I mean, they may a little, but they're doing whatever is the most popular opinion, and that's what's going to make them money. So, boys, what are your thoughts on that?
So
Sorry.
Bailey,
Well,
since you're a little more familiar with Overwatch, I'm gonna let you take this one first.
all right. First of all, for Jeff, I feel like we should just call him Papa Jeff from this point on. Just Papa
Agreed.
Jeff.
Papa Jeff. All right.
Yeah, we're just gonna call him Papa Jeff from this point on, or Jeffy Lube, either one that you made.
Jeffy Lube.
Jeffy Lube.
Jeffy Lube.
Jeffy
Jeffy
Lube's
Lube.
good. I do like Jeffy Lube because he just wants to lube up everybody and give them the gay agenda.
My agenda.
Here's the thing, okay? I have a very different opinion on things, like, you know. So here's my thing, okay? I myself, just like Zach, do not care if it's like, hey guys, it's a gay character. Woo! I don't care. I legitimately just don't care. Like, you can have a gay character, go for it. For me personally, I wish Winston was transgender, but you know, I will never get my dreams. Okay, my dreams will never become true because, whew. However, just the fact that people will legitimately try to drag your name through the dirt just for the sheer fact that you don't agree with their views on a video game character is quite stupid.
Exactly.
I for one should just be able to sit down, play my video game, and be like, "This is my character. His lore has been updated, so now he's gay." So yeah, I don't care. It's just his video game. I don't play video games majority for the lore, so I could care less. Especially a competitive shooter like Overwatch. You know, if it was like Skyrim, then of course you're gonna play for the story. But for like a shooter like Overwatch or Siege or Counter-Strike, I don't care about lore if there's even any lore on these characters. I'm just playing it because it's a shooter. Okay.
Well, for like for a bigger example on like what I mean by like the entitled characters and how they feel they can control lore, look at my biggest example is the Mikanzo ship. For those of you who don't know, the Mikanzo ship is basically taking the two characters, the Cowboy McCree and the Japanese kata archer kind of guy, Hanzo. They shipped them together. And that's the biggest mass fucking clusterfuck confusion I've ever faced in my life because I don't understand how that ship came about. I don't understand why they're paired together. They have no interaction with each other whatsoever in the game. There's no like indication that's a thing or that any of them are gay. But why that's my prime example is because this is the most popular ship in the Overwatch fandom, and people like went across this whole board, you know, saying that this is the OTP, the one true ship, whatever those stupid ass names are. This is the one. This is the ship. And then the McCree cinematic came out where they introduced a new character, Ash, and had an insinuation in the cinematic that Ash and McCree had a thing, insinuating that McCree is either straight or bi, because we don't really know, nor should we care. And the whole fandom blew up. The whole fandom was just like, but my OTP, just screaming.
While I don't have any experience with Overwatch, never played it, that sort of game doesn't really appeal to me. But what I do know from years and years navigating Tumblr is that the stupider the ship, the more popular it is.
Bingo.
Yep, pretty much. Bingo.
And the less it makes sense, the more popular it is. I mean, you know, you have Kirk and Spock, like the original stupid ass ship that made the rounds of fan fiction magazines back in the 70s, and going on from there. It sounds like this is another classic case of not gay enough.
Exactly, it's that, but it's just people are going as far as trying to drag Jeff's name in the dirt, saying he's homophobic because he hears these ships, but he never makes it happen.
Not Jeff. Not
Yep.
Jeff.
Not Jeff.
Jeffy Lube.
Jeffy Lube.
Oh, Jeffy. Excuse me, gentlemen. Jeffy Lube.
Look,
Everybody's
you got to show
trying to-
respect.
You get his damn
use the proper
pronouns
title.
right, you piece of shit.
But it rages me so much, especially somebody who like writes their own shit. Like, it's like to think that there is a crowd out there that thinks they have the entitlement to tell you how to create your characters, how to write your characters. It's like you don't have that right to go to somebody's work or somebody's writing or whatever. It goes beyond Overwatch. You don't have that right to sit there and talk about how you can control what they write just because you have a headcanon. It makes sense to you. If it doesn't make sense to the author or the writer, it doesn't make sense. They're not going to do it. Just because you are angry that the fact that they didn't listen to what you wanted for the show or game or book or story doesn't mean that they're a homophobic piece of trash. It means they're writing their own goddamn story. Like, it means, crazy enough to think about that, right? Like, people can write what they want, but it's just, I hate seeing that shit. I hate when people get so angry about, like, when somebody writes something that's not what they like and they just want to, like, fucking go insane. Like, look at Steven Universe, where they, like, harassed the writer on Twitter for months, where they deactivated their Twitter because they weren't writing the characters the way they wanted way these fans wanted it. Like,
I'm convinced that the Overwatch Twitter really wants to deactivate itself, because I feel like I just feel like they're constantly just getting bombarded, like, hey, you make Junkrat gay or I am not buying your game anymore.
Exactly.
Well, and this level of entitlement we've seen from fans, like you were saying earlier, it's nothing.
It's nothing new, but it's just, it keeps getting intense as days go
because after all, not pandering to niche demographics is violence. Look, this is 2018, and I think neither of you are appropriately woke on this.
We gotta get woke.
You gotta get more woke.
Gotta get more woke on this.
Overwatch woke confirmed.
Maybe that's my problem. I'm not woke enough for the Overwatch fandom.
We live in a society.
We are the most oppressed gamers of all.
It's like everything just has to be woke. Everything. Like, there was a point where I was okay with if TV or movies got woke.
Yeah.
Okay, but this shift of, like, let's take video games, the pride and joy of many, and let's just start shoving our agenda in everyone's face, and they must accept it, and if they don't, then they're homophobic.
There's a certain way you do about that. Like, you can't just, like, all of a sudden, well, in my opinion, I don't think you just all of a sudden go, bam, gay. Like, I feel like it has to be an ease transition into, oh, well, that makes sense. Like, I could see that. Like, with Tracer, like, I could totally see, have you looked at her haircut? Like, I could totally see she's gay. Like,
I feel like they just opened the text document for Soldier and was just like, let's add that he's gay.
Well, if you ask my own professional Overwatch opinion, I believe it was Blizzard's chance to get some good PR after they just revealed Diablo Immortal and just announced that one of their players for their Overwatch leagues was not who they thought it was. Ellie is not a woman nor a person they thought they were, and they just were getting bad controversy as a result. So they were just like, Soldier's gay.
Or hear me out, all right?
I'm hearing you out.
All right, okay, so Blizzard is Theoden from Lord of the Rings.
Uh-huh.
Activision is Wormtongue. And and Activision is just like whispering in his ear like, you get rid of it. Add this. You must do it. If not, you're weak. You're a weak king of Rohan.
You are a weak king of mediocre online multiplayer shooters.
Oh, you're nothing but Gandalf the Grey. Yeah, that's
but who's going to be is Bungie going to be the Gandalf the White then?
Bungie
from
is
Activision.
Bungie is Gandalf the White. They've been liberated. The true power is shown.
I don't think we have to entirely, hate on Rohan, because after all, they did know what keeps orcs out.
Yep.
Big ol' wall.
Oh, God damn it.
We need a wall! We need a video game wall!
All it took was one crazy orc to just bring bombs to the wall.
Yep, but you know what? Helm's Deep didn't fall.
That's true.
Helm's Deep did not fall.
True. I feel like everyone in the Oval Office is just watching the two towers in a continuous loop. Like, we must not make the same mistake.
Legolas, bring him down. But no, I also want to make clear again that with the whole Soldier 76, to those who are actually happy about it and actually feeling, kind of genuinely glad, I'm not trying to make fun of your representation there, but actually, congrats on that. I don't care about his sexuality, but if you're happy about it, cool. That's you. I don't speak for everybody, but I'm happy for you for that. Congrats on that. So
Riley, what is your opinion on the video game industry getting woke?
Well, and this is something because I've been kind of following this sort of thing since about maybe 2013, 2014. Back when it was all the whole Gamergate thing was everywhere, and I don't care. Really, what a particular video game character likes to shove up its 3D rendered ass. I don't. But I don't want to be made to care. I don't want to have to care. I don't want to be expected to care. What I go for in games is really good deep lore, a great story, something that transports me to another world. Alternatively, something that I can essentially shitpost for several hours on end with my buddies. And if you've got that, cool, that works. I didn't give a damn about any of the LGBT relationships that were possible in Mass Effect. Like, cool, pilot's gay in Mass Effect 3, whatever. Doesn't really impact me,
I don't think anyone really cared when it came to like Mass Effect and Dragon Age,
No,
because
because the games were good.
You'd be surprised.
I think from day one when I first heard about Mass Effect, I remember hearing like you can romance anybody, and I was like, okay, that's.
I will say this, that is like when you look deep within, especially when Tumblr was popular, if you look deep within the fandom of like the Dragon Age and Mass Effect, they care a very great deal of the romanceable options to a point that they'll excuse the, like with Andromeda, they excuse the inferior gameplay because the romances were pretty cute. Like there are people out there, there's a good chunk out there who like, would say that the romance is the best part of the game, and to which I cringe beyond belief over.
And that's when I start having issues.
Yep, that's where my issues start lying.
I start having issues when your wokeness impacts the quality of the product.
Because the companies know that's what you care about the most. That's what.
I just want to play good games, man.
Yep.
And when companies listen to...
Be like Witcher 3. Be like Witcher 3. Just be
don't...
good story, good gameplay, good romances, good all around.
And don't be like Diablo Immortal, because the decision-making process that influenced that, I'm sure went somewhere along, because again, this is another Blizzard product. Because even though they're under, each game has its own department, they all kind of fall under the same marketing director. And Blizzard saw, that, well, we need more women playing video games. And as anybody who is in, anybody who has played video games can tell you, the overwhelming majority of people playing on consoles and on PCs are men. Where female gamers make up that gap.
I mean,
is on mobile.
Yeah, I honestly haven't seen that, but then again.
Well, and that's what the numbers are saying. Like the split, if you take all kinds of video games and you look at the numbers, it's 50-50. Yeah. But women make up 75% of mobile gamers. I mean, literally, as I am talking to you right now, my wife is playing RuneScape on her phone.
Amen.
She just gave me the thumbs up.
Amen.
So
actually, now that you say that, my
How does-
fiance plays like a coloring game on mobile too. So
yeah, and
so, yeah,
and
you're right.
how? So therefore, how do you get more women to play Diablo? Put her on a fucking phone.
Now hold up. Now hold up.
Yeah,
Now,
hold up.
Hold up.
Hmm.
The reason why they decided to put Diablo, the most glorious of video games that have ever been graced upon this god green earth, is because of the Chinese.
That's exactly what I
their
was about to say.
mobile market is ridiculous. They have more mobile gamers than actual PC or console players. Like they drop into thousands of dollars into mobile games, and said developer of Diablo Immortal is a Chinese developer who's made like 3 separate Diablo clones. So the main goal
Okay,
is to get that
so-
Chinese audience because there's a shit ton of money in there.
Pause.
Now, well, and I think that kind of continues to go back to my point, because
If
they
there's
got
demographic.
they acted like American gamers were a bunch of shitheads for saying, "Hey, that's not what we wanted. We wanted something on PC," and proceeded to insult them.
Yep. What do you not have
When they-
phones?
Yeah, when they asked for a PC title, in order to please a different market that was not at that award show, that does not really go hard for Blizzard games at the moment.
Besides Warcraft, they go hard on Warcraft.
They do go hard on Warcraft.
And that's another thing that a little grinds my gears. There is the toxic masculinity is the reason why why games are bad, not because of companies. Like when Fallout 70. Well, go ahead, finish your point.
Oh no, I was just gonna piggyback on you that games like Fallout 76 are being ruined by men.
Yeah,
The
Like,
gaming
the
community
game
in
is
general is
bad.
being destroyed by evil men. Games
exactly.
aren't bad, men are trash.
That seems to be the trend nowadays of just saying that men are evil people and shall be destroyed. And if marketing company says that, if a corporation says men bad, women good, men bad, that's what the whole media needs to stand for. Personally, funny that we're bringing this up. Not actually funny, but
Nice
funny,
segue.
funny that we mentioned that there, Riley, because look at Gillette, the best a man can get.
Now,
Yeah,
hold on,
so this
hold
is,
on, hold on.
What?
I wanted to say my closing opinion on the Soldier 76.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll get in your last word
Yeah,
on
get in your last
Source
opinion on
76.
All right, y'all transition too damn quick. All right.
Hey, I made a great transition there. Okay,
was
if you
a
didn't
good-
catch on to that.
That was
It was
beautifully
good.
ham-fisted.
It was
Zach.
good. Let me tell you, okay. Just to wrap it up, okay.
All right, let's wrap
just
it up.
wrap it up. So the Soldier 76 thing, okay, we can agree that we're not homophobic people, okay. We just find it to be quite thrusting in the face. But what I believe is that what they don't realize is that Blizzard and the Overwatch game in general has completely destroyed a specific market of entertainment on the internet. And that is the source filmmaker porn, because I feel like they feel real stupid now when they made their weird Farah on Soldier action. I bet they're like, well, geez, man, that fucked me up real good. I
Like
bet-
Soldier 76's whole deal now is just more proof that when you thrust wokeness in the face of your consumers, they tend not to like it, because they're not buying your product for social commentary. They're buying your product because they want to blow up cartoon characters with their buddies.
Uh-huh.
I think the best.
Stick to making games.
I think the best thing I've heard, like, this is my last thing about Soldier 76, but the best thing I saw was somebody was like, so Soldier 76 and Tracer are gay, right? Cool. And just drew like fan art of both of them banging each other. And I was like, wow, the Mad Lad did it.
That sounds like something Shadman.
That's
Surprisingly, it wasn't Shadman. Surprisingly, it wasn't Shad.
That's an
But
8,000
another
play move.
company that needs to just accept that we don't go to their product for social commentary
Is Gillette.
is Gillette. Now, I say we.
Hardly
I don't go to
sponsored
Gillette.
by Gillette.
The best that man
I
can
don't go
get.
to Gillette because I haven't shaved
We're not actually
in,
sponsored.
actually, I haven't shaved in 1 week shy of 7 years. And when I do trim, I use a straight razor. But Gillette released a 1 minute and 50-second long spot on YouTube that is not doing so hot right now in the terms of likes and dislikes. I haven't seen one of y'all get me them numbers.
All right, we are at 333,000 likes and 711,000 dislikes.
Okay, so actually not that abysmal of a ratio. We're not in,
It's sitting at 13 million views currently.
Still
okay. 10% engagement. That's normal. But the content of the video it's frustrating for me.
Yeah.
So as somebody who's a big proponent of masculinity being important, masculinity being a good thing for society.
Not after that kale argument.
Yeah, hey, pal, look, you can be a manly man still eat kale.
That's the first I've heard of that, but all right.
Kale chips, also tasty
Weird flex,
as hell.
but okay.
So the video opens up asking the question, is this really the best a man can get? And they go into things like bullying, a bunch of kids chasing down a smaller kid, mansplaining, you got a dude in a boardroom talking down to a woman, and then a couple of kids fighting, and then a strange line of dads at grills saying boys will be boys over and over again. And it just reeks of something that the Young Turks would put out. And then, of course, after... Yeah, and then we get to see Anna Kasparian. The one Armenian that doesn't believe that the genocide happened.
Oh, we don't talk about that. Hey, we don't talk about that, Riley.
You best be careful, or the fucking
and then
Ugurt guy is gonna come at us.
It goes into he can, he's big enough that you can outrun him at a brisk walk.
That's true.
Look, he's gonna come after me. He's gonna end up dead, but it's probably because of the heart attack that he'll get from the running. Yeah. Yeah, he needs to slim down. He's a heckin' chonker.
No fat shaming on my podcast.
Don't make me get into it.
But it then concludes with a bunch of examples of what men should be. A dad breaking up two boys from fighting. A guy telling his buddy not to walk after a woman on the street. And a dad in his bathroom holding up his daughter in the mirror, telling her to say, I am strong. And that's a little telling. We can get into what that is later, but I don't entirely disagree with everything in that video, but it seems like it's pouring gasoline on the fire of men are trash.
Did you say fire? Fire good, men bad. Men evil, no like men, like fire, burn good.
No,
Yep.
I'm kind of on the same train there. I agree with some points in the video, like the last parts you just mentioned. Right? That's what men should do. You see a guy going trying to harass a woman on the street, you tell him, hey, don't do that shit. That's stupid. You see your boys fighting, and until it's getting too rough, you just, you yank them off, say, hey, no fighting.
You gotta let them fight, man. You gotta see who the alpha male is.
Sometimes you just gotta let that shit happen.
You gotta see who the alpha male is in the family.
You gotta see who your favorite is.
Mm-hmm.
but no, you know, some of the points they were making, they're like, you know, the man uplifting his daughter. Yeah, I agree with that. But I agree with you completely. It did feel like the whole, like, you know, like the whole some men are good, but we need to do better. I'm like, okay, hold up. Or this whole some men thing. You're gonna take what you see in the news and in the media, and then portray that on every single man. Much like how I can't portray the women who are on the streets going nuts over the fact that some dude said penis, and
How dare you?
I can't generalize them, but you're going to generalize us because you feel oppressed. Um, I just don't see how, you know, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about the video in itself. I don't feel great about it, but I also like I don't like the reactions that's coming from the people. You know, the people saying that, you know, if your masculinity is hurt by videos, then your masculinity isn't tough at all. It's like my masculinity is not hurt by a video. I just don't like being portrayed as what you know the demeaning side of masculinity is. And I want to make clear that, you know, to me, however, it is never masculine, you know, to harass anybody on the street. It's never masculine, you know, to do any of the things that they say that masculinity is. You know, I
No,
go ahead.
those are byproducts of a flawed and improperly taught masculinity. Comically enough, they're byproducts, I feel, of the over feminization of boys in America.
Mm-hmm.
We've been, for the past 30 years, slowly eradicating male influence on young children. Not maybe not deliberately, but it has been happening. The male influence in early childhood development's been going away.
Excuse me.
You know, 1 in 4 American boys right now does not have a father in the home. The only influence that kid is getting is either from the media or mom. Not a man who's in his life directly teaching him how to be a man.
Mm-hmm.
And kids go to school and male teachers exist, but only 1 in 5 teachers in elementary school, you know, what we call the formative years, the years that matter most for a young boy, only 1 in 5 of those teachers are male. Kids likely not going to have any sort of positive male role models whatsoever until maybe high school. Because in high school, you know, 1/3 of their teachers are going to be men. And this is why I'm going into the education field, at least a good part of it, because I want to, you know, be a positive male role model for kids who don't have one. 63% of youth suicides,
Men.
no, come from single mother households.
Oh.
No, 80% of youth suicides are boys.
Gotcha.
4 out of 5, 80% of children with behavior disorders come from single parent households. 71% of college dropouts and 75% of youth in drug abuse centers are coming from environments without a father. It's a problem, massive problem.
So why are we focusing on those rather than, you know, the bullshit that they mentioned in the video?
Well, because we have to empower single mothers. You know, because doing that implies that single motherhood is harmful. You know, actively promulgating numbers like those,
right,
implies that, you know, single motherhood might not be the best way, and it implies what, you know, the woke scolds at Gillette and other places would like to think, that they're wrong, and that maybe it's not time to let women have a turn. Maybe it's time to let people share things equally.
And, you know,
and that influence from both ends is important.
And, you know, I lived at a single mother household for, like, you know, probably a good chunk of my life. When my parents divorced and my dad moved to Pennsylvania, it was just me and my mom. and it is a struggle for single mothers to do that. But luckily enough, I had my, people, my father figures that I looked up to. I had my grandfather and I had my uncle, who like, helped me, develop. And then my mom met my stepdad. And then that's when he kind of took the role as like, as a father figure and raised me. So I will say from my perspective, like when it came to single household or single mother households, it is a hard thing to do. It's a hard thing to, for a mother to raise a son, because they don't understand the same things that, that a boy goes through during that age. Like, my parents divorced like when I was like maybe 8 or 9, right at the peak of when like, I needed like, somebody like a man there to teach me the way and everything. And I gotta say, it was always a struggle, like going through that, like, not to get too TMI, but the first time I popped a boner, I woke up with it and I had no fucking clue what the fuck was going on. And here I am just running at my mom with this, like, me pitching a tent, and my mom's like, Jesus fucking Christ, son. And I'm like, my mom, what's going on? It hurts to pee. Like,
it hurts to pee.
I just want you to know that as touching and important and deep as this conversation is, I am never letting you live that down.
Oh, I know.
You might want to check your pee if it hurts to pee.
Well, no, like it wasn't like hurting to pee. It's just like it was just going everywhere. Like I tried to bend it down to pee, and it would fucking hurt. Like it just hurt my dick, and I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? So like, my mom had to sit me down and say, well, that happens because
you gotta grab your toes and name that shit in a toilet bowl.
Yeah. What? Grab your toes?
Yeah, you gotta grab your toes and name that shit over the toilet bowl.
I prefer to put my feet as far away from the toilet as possible, place one hand on the wall, use the other to.
I just, if I'm peeing with a stiffy, I'm sitting down like a bitch. I'm sorry. Like, I'm not making a mess.
Well, that's why you use one hand to aim, man. This was my wife found this incredibly hilarious because she'd never heard that explained before.
Well, let me finish what I was getting into.
Yeah. Go ahead. We'll stop talking about boners.
Well, it's still no. Do not worry. The boner story is still being continued.
It's real boner o'clock.
Yay, more child boners.
But anyways, so fast forward up until like I was like in middle school. My mom married my stepdad at this point, and everybody's like happy, yeah, whatever. So like my stepdad was in the Marine Corps and he was always out, so military shit. So it was still just my mom about here and there. But fast forward in middle school, I had a little girlfriend there, probably like in 6th or 7th grade. I had a little girlfriend, and that was at my school cafeteria. We had this couch, and so we're just like sitting there.
Bro, I'm gonna stop you right here because you should not admit to anything that could potentially lead to criminal charges on like the re-debut of this podcast.
No, there's gonna be no criminal charges. Like, there's no sexual acts that has happened. It's just bullying and a mother not understanding what the situation is.
Okay, please go on then. I just wanted to.
We're just sitting on the couch, and of course, like at that age, anything can like pitch your tent, and all she had to do was just lay her head on my shoulder, and obviously, I'm just like, oh boy, here we go. And then as soon as that happens, the bell rings, and this is during my phase where I thought skinny jeans were really cool, and you
discovered the hard way that they weren't.
Yeah, and I'm trying to sit down, let it die down, let the blood flow, and go back.
Put some cold water on that bitch.
Yeah, and she's just like, "Come on, let's go." And she pulls me up, and some dude at the corner of the cafeteria sees it and just screams, "Boner!" And everybody in the cafeteria laughs at me. I'm hiding behind a trash can, and everybody's just pointing, laughing at me. And then, fast forward to my mom, having to embarrassingly tell my mom what happened because she got a phone call from one of my friend's mothers.
Mom, Mama, I popped a stiffy on the blicky.
And so it's just asking like, well, can't you like control it? Can't you like control it? I'm like, no, I cannot.
It just happens.
And that's what I'm going into about, like, you know, my dad my dad at times like laughs at it, like, you know, like starts laughing at it, like, you know, no, we can't control that shit. And
No, it just happens.
and that just kind of shows with like some single mothers who just like, if my mom didn't get it, and you know, I'm not saying like every single mother's like that, but like that's just the kind of the basis of the misunderstanding they have with their sons. Yes, you know your son, but like there's some things as like a female, you don't understand what we go through when we grow up, and why we deal with this, why we go through this. That's why, you know, they sometimes there's some things mothers just don't understand, and that's a prime example of it right there. You know, funny story, but it's an example of like, you know, how my mom just didn't really understand like why I let it happen. She was under the impression that I just let that happen, and she didn't understand that, you know, that is uncontrollable. That should just that, you know, she thought I could just, you know, flick at my boner and just say, oh, this over, go away, boy, we're not doing that today.
If I focus my energy, I can pop a stiffy.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know, that just kind of shows like, you know, to the whole single mother thing, it is a struggle out there, and you know, moms need help out there. And I agree with you, there needs to be a dad in the household. There needs to be some sort of masculine figure in the household to kind of help the boys grow up.
You know what, man? You know what? Mars needs moms.
Yes.
Shut up.
Yes.
Y'all remember that movie by Robert Zemeckis?
And more than just more than just awkward conversations about, you know, our first erections. Education in general, the schoolyard environment, the formative environment for young boys is becoming increasingly feminized. Boys are active, they're rambunctious, they want to play, they want to do things, they want to pick things up and look at them. And the classroom environment in the elementary school in America is one of be quiet, don't touch, hands down, sit still, do X, Y, Z. And I'm not saying that kids should not learn how to sit still, because that is an important skill to have, but that type of learning, the oral learning, overwhelmingly favors girls over boys. And it makes sense, because teachers are going to teach in ways that they're going to gravitate toward things that work for them. And with 80% of elementary school teachers being women, they're going to give a female-oriented educational experience to the child. Now, if the child's a boy, it's not going to take as well, and we see that bearing fruit in college, where 56% of college students are female. In some areas, it's as high as 65, and that number is rising. Men are abandoning college in droves because they're tired of education, because it doesn't work for them. Recess has been getting steadily shorter over the past 30-40 years.
Yeah, that's the other thing I was fixing to say, is that my nephew is certainly going through that, like how boys are very rambunctious, and he's going through the whole, like, he's at that stage of his life, he's like 7, where he needs to burn that energy off, and they just won't give it to him. Like, they're just he needs to go out and be active, and they're just like, well, he's not sitting still enough for class. And like, what, like, give him recess for like 30 minutes, I'll straighten him up recess for 30 minutes will get him good. Like, well, we believe in a 15-minute recess. And I'm like, what the fuck are you saying, 15 minutes?
Dude, when I was in 5th grade, I moved and went to a different school, to a school that did not offer recess at all. We were in a classroom the entire day. There was no physical activity outside of the one day a week that we had PE.
Like, I'm sorry, I'm not in Japan. I'm an American.
Yeah, and boys in particular benefit from rough competitive play. Boys like to be active. Boys like to essentially establish dominance hierarchies. We do that. You see a lot of the same behaviors on the school playground as you do on a prison yard.
Yep.
And it's pretty much because men have some inbuilt routines. And now I'm straying here into dangerously heretical territory, because bringing up anything to do with evolutionary psychology automatically, puts you in shaky territory with the mods at YouTube. But men naturally want to test themselves against each other. It's part of our DNA. To men, everything is a competition. That's why men climb up. Why men climb up the ranks of organizations that they're in, because men are incredibly competitive. That's why the majority of multiplayer online shooter players are men, because men are competitive. But we're seeing competitive play, and in particular competitive physical play, being removed from the schoolyard. Tag isn't okay. Dodgeball's not okay because it's too violent. Tag involves shoving, and it's not all right.
Real talk, dodgeball was my shit back in the day.
If you are offended by dodgeball, you can go commit death.
Whoa, right into it.
Dodgeball is the best thing that's ever happened to this country.
Dropping the toaster bath on them.
Dodgeball is possibly like that was the only sport I ever thrived in, and because we did the dodgeball where like they set out the balls in the middle of the court.
That's how it's done. That's the way we do it.
You run out there, grab the balls.
Yeah, that's how you play dodgeball.
Yeah, exactly. Well, there's that like not fair. I call it communist death dodgeball, where they like line you up at a wall and you have to dodge the ball there. No, that's how the communists.
That's how we played dodgeball. We played the firing style.
Yeah, firing squad. No, I'm talking about
if you caught the ball, you got to go to the firing line and had to trade places with the one who threw.
No, the one we played is that you have your teams on one side of the court, and you had your team on the other side, and then they set the like 6 balls on the line of the court, and then they say go. You run as fast as you can to catch the balls. You get the balls and you throw it at them. Like, we were doing some parkour shit with that, and I was like, that's why I thrived with that. Like, I was just
that's like regulation competitive dodge, like the movie.
That's crazy,
on ESPN 8, the Ocho.
That's crazy.
You ever done DMT?
Did you ever do DMT?
Yeah. But no, like that was my bread and butter back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
But it ain't bread and butter anymore.
Yep, that's no longer allowed.
No, because it's too violent.
Yep.
And when you restrict boys from play fighting, something that is exhibited in every mammalian species,
that was a big word.
Mice to monkeys, dogs, cats, to humans. Mm-hmm. Every one of them engages in play fighting because it's fun. Mm-hmm. Now, it's not like, one kid's just going to club the shit out of every other kid, because as studies have been done with rats, it's discovered that if the bigger kid doesn't let the smaller one win sometimes, and the smaller one doesn't play, and then both of them get bored. But there's evidence to suggest that rough play in young boys actually helps their brain development, and the lack of it stunts it, because you've got all of this desire to get up and move around and run around and be physical and play like a boy, and everyone tells you you can't, and you're punished for doing that. Well, those kids grow up confused, they grow up twitchy, they end up acting out, and then holy crap, we discovered a chemical, though, that actually helps with those symptoms and helps kind of remediate it and bring them back down to an acceptable level of behavior. And that chemical is called Ritalin.
Oof.
I'm going to sound fringe. This is backed up.
Mm-hmm.
One cause of the epidemic of ADD and ADHD is that the schoolyard environment, the school environment in general, is overwhelmingly slanted in favor of girls. Boys are being left out in the education field.
Riley. But somebody's daughter just got sent home because their bra strap was showing.
I saw her ankles.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, and you know what? That's stupid too, because it's not a zero-sum game. Helping boys does not mean harming girls.
Yep. Thank you,
Does.
thank you. How finally somebody speaking English? Why can't we do both?
You absolutely can. Stupid dress code violations resulting in kids being sent home. Yeah, it's fucking dumb.
Yeah.
But I also understand that, hey, maybe we should also allow boys to get a little rough with each other. To understand that, yes, boys will be boys, and you should let them be. Let them play.
Also, nobody's saying with that statement, nobody's saying that we should allow any sort of sexual harassment or sexual
No.
because when nowadays if you say that, that's apparently what that means is that boys will be boys is a dangerous way to lead to boys to saying that they're going to sexually assault people, yada yada yada. It's like there's no point at all where anybody says that.
Well, you know who used to tell you about all
Who?
that stuff, about that fine line?
Who's that?
Dad.
Yep. Oh, there we go. Again.
Dad used to tell you that. Your male teacher used to tell you that. Your pastor, your priest used to tell you that.
Well, I'll say this. That's one thing my mom did get straight up at, like from the get-go whenever I started getting curious about girls is that, no means no. No means no. If you do not yell at a woman at in a on the street or in a parking lot saying how good she looks, if you truly feel if you truly feel that she's beautiful, you go up to her and say, hey, not to bother you, but you look quite nice today. Thank you. Like, have a nice day kind of deal. But
yeah, and then you smack that ass and run away.
Exactly. Yep. That's how my grandparents did it. That's how my grandparents did it. That's how their parents before them.
Listen, when people say like, "Hey man, you gotta like believe in and respect and listen to all women," I'm sitting here, I'm like, all women?
Some women are shitty.
All of them? Like the ones who cut up your shit and throw it out the window? Like all of them? Like, am I supposed to be like, that's a good woman?
That's yeah. The ones that slap you and then like
the ones who make up shit to raise their self up, but then bring the other person down and just like make up like a fake claim. Like, am I supposed to believe those people and respect them as an individual?
No. Fuck no.
No. Like
you respect people.
The ones
based on the respect that they earn. And that's the way it used to be, and it's not how it is anymore.
The ones who sit out there and like, they'll have like an argument with their boyfriend and they're sitting there like hitting and punching and like going full force on the guy. Am I just like if I was in that position, I'd be like, if you want to be a man, then you better be a man in a minute. I just think it's like, I just feel like, people should take a step back and be like, okay, not every person is fucking like a pristine person. Not everyone's fucking perfect.
Not everybody's worthy of respect.
Yeah. It's
exactly.
And we've moved in this age of identity politics, we've moved away from respecting people as individuals, and we've transitioned to being made to respect them for whatever identity group they're part of.
I will try to be a respectful individual as best as I can. I'll try to be respectful for anyone's opinion and anything. But there comes a time where I feel like something just crosses the line and the respect should just be thrown away at that point.
I feel like I agree with that. I feel like I give you my general respect. I give everybody my general respect up until you do something to either one, boost that respect, or two, for me to totally lose that respect.
Like, here's something. All right, I know Riley likes Riley like talking about this. Look at Antifa for a minute, okay?
Favorite.
When you see them clash in the streets, when you have the wall of our God-fearing patriots on one side, and you got the Walmart ninjas on the other side, you gotta take a look. And if you look on the Antifa side, you'll notice that their entire front line is completely just filled with women. There's just nothing but women on that side. At that point in time, while they're throwing shit and pepper spraying people, at that point, at that pivotal moment, I don't have respect for that woman no more.
Well, no, because they're men.
At that point, they want to be a man, so I'm punching the shit out of that man.
Well, and this is a further example of the traditional man versus the modern man, and the clear superiority of the traditional man. And I'm going to get this out of the way right now. I believe in traditional masculinity. I think that traditional masculinity has been a driving force for the advancement of humanity, and that our abandonment of it now is what's causing this collapse. But the traditionalist men on the one side are hesitant to beat the tar out of the female shields that these modern men have put up in front of them.
Mm-hmm.
And these guys know that. Antifa knows this. That's why they do it. Because we give traditional men, give a woman a lot more leeway, because traditional men are strong and understand that they are strong, both, physically, mentally, what have you. But traditional men have been taught by other traditional men to understand that you don't use force until it's necessary, and then you apply maximum force until the problem is solved.
Amen.
That's what has to go in your head when you start carrying concealed. You understand that it puts it in perspective for you, having this level of power, that you need to use it responsibly, that you need to hold yourself in check. You need to cool your temper the fuck down and resolve things with words whenever possible, because when it comes time to stop using words, everything is on the table.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is, when I see like a couple get in an argument, it's a heated argument, and then they're just like yelling at each other, and the dude hits the woman, then yeah, that dude's a scumbag. Okay.
Yeah.
But the moment in which said female was like, I'm gonna hit you with a bike lock, or I'm gonna pepper spray you, or I'm gonna start punching the shit out of you, and you're not gonna do anything about it. Me, fight or flight kicks in, and I'm like, well, if you want to be a man and fight back,
of course you have a right to defend yourself.
At that point, yeah.
You have a human right to self-defense and self-preservation.
And
that falls under your right to life.
I just don't, but because that's been my view for the longest time. It's like, if I'm provoked in any way, I don't care if you're man, woman, you're confused. I don't give a shit. If you do something that's like gonna physically harm me or get physical with me, then yes, I'm gonna fight back.
Love how your gender options are man, woman, and confused. But
you want to know? Do you want to know? Is everybody done here? Is everybody done?
Let's hear this segue.
But do you want to know what we can be better? How we can be better? Stopping R.Kelly.
I was about to say it. Does it have anything to do with peeing on 13-year-olds?
Stop it. First of all, R.Kelly, stop it. Get some help.
I believe
if you listening, which I doubt you are, but some chance you listen. Stop. Get some help. Don't sue me. Get some help.
I believe he could fly.
Oh, he's flying. He's flying pretty high right now. Pretty close to the sun, one might say.
So you want me to take you through the timeline of what's been going on with R.Kelly?
Sure, Riley. Let's hear the timeline.
Give us the play-by-play.
Okay, so on August 31st of 1994, day after my birthday, my fourth birthday, 27-year-old Robert Kelly marries 15-year-old Aaliyah Lawton. Now they forged the marriage certificate. She said she was 18.
Oof.
But yeah, he married a 15-year-old, which I'm fairly sure was illegal in the state of Illinois, because I think that age in Illinois is 16 for marriage. His manager forged her documents, and according to his manager, Demetria Smith, Aaliyah was scared looking. Like, she looked scared at the ceremony. Now this marriage doesn't last but a few months.
It is 16 years old.
But she This, comically enough, happened after R. Kelly produced Aaliyah's first album, Age Ain't Nothing But a Number.
Oof.
Oh,
Oof.
sketchy. So then 6 years later, in December of 2000, the Chicago Sun-Times printed the first allegations of R. Kelly having sex with minors. Jim DeRogatis and Abdon Palash published a story saying that Kelly was using his fame to meet girls as young as 15 and then to coerce them. And at least 2 of those girls said that they met him at the high school that Kelly attended, where he went back to pick up high school girls. By that point, Chicago police had investigated Kelly twice on suspicion of having sex with an underage girl, but the investigations were dropped because in every one of them, the girls would not cooperate. And then, within weeks of the Sun-Times report being published, he goes on to sell TP-2.com, which goes to number 1 on the Billboard 200. Then 2 years later, in 2002, he opens up the Winter Olympics, and then on the very same day, Chicago police open up another investigation into the piss tape.
Oof.
And I'm sure, y'all all know what that is. Y'all have all heard of it. Purports to have allegedly shows Robert Kelly.
Big alleged.
Yeah, big allege. But it allegedly shows Robert Kelly participating in a wide variety of lewd acts, including having sex with a 13-year-old girl. He was not charged with statutory rape, though. He vehemently denied that it was him in the video. But in 2002, he was indicted on 21 counts of child pornography related to that videotape. 7 counts each of directing the taping, producing the video, and enticing the girl into performing illicit acts. And he was formally charged in a Florida courtroom, because these are now not state charges anymore. These are federal crimes. Florida also charged Kelly with an additional 12 counts of creating child pornography, alleging that during his arrest, the police found a camera with new images showing sex with a different underage girl. But those charges were dropped after the camera was improperly seized. There's a legal concept called fruit of the poisonous tree that is essentially you cannot use evidence that has been improperly acquired. So the police didn't dot their I's, cross their T's, and did not go through the proper means of acquiring the camera that had that kiddie porn on it. And then 7 of the original 21 charges in Chicago related to the video would also be dropped 2 years later in 2004, because the prosecutors acknowledged that the law under which he was charged wasn't passed until after the alleged taping happened. So a technicality.
So it's a technicality. He got loose, and
yeah. So in 2000,
go ahead.
So in 2008, so he posted bail in 2002, and he spent the next 6 years continuing to tour and perform and everything with, putting out new albums, recording music, getting nominated for Grammys, and then he kept failing to make court appearances. A judge had an accident, and not a quotation marks accident, like he was changing a light bulb and fell off a ladder.
Mm-hmm.
One of the prosecutors had a baby, but eventually in 2008, his trial began. 3 weeks later, he's acquitted because neither the girl nor her parents are willing to testify. Jury spends less than 1 day before returning a not guilty verdict. And one of his later alleged victims, Geronda Pace, met him when she skipped school to support him in court. So then we move on to a BuzzFeed article, which, before you go a little nuts on the BuzzFeed, this was written by Jim DeRogatis, the same guy who wrote the report back in 2000.
Right.
All that kale's getting to your head now.
Yeah, like all the kale.
About the parents of a young woman who the article to is Jay, alleging that her 19-year-old daughter was drawn into a quote-unquote cult of women living with and totally controlled by the singer. Now this, anytime anybody alleges sex cult, I tend to get a little skeptical. But it includes corroborative details from 3 women who knew Kelly very well. Cheryl Mack, who was his personal assistant, Kitty Jones and Asante McGee, who are his ex-girlfriends who both lived in the alleged cult. They said that 6 women lived with Kelly in Chicago and the suburbs of Atlanta, and that he controlled every aspect of their lives, quote, dictating what they eat, how they dress, when they bathe, when they sleep, and how they engage in sexual encounters that he records, end quote. And then Kitty Jones also said that Kelly beat her. Now, they were older when they met Kelly. Kitty Jones was 33 and Asante McGee was 35. Then the next year, he releases a song called I Admit, in which he doesn't actually admit anything. Later that same year, October 4th of, I guess, last year now, because 2018 was last year, Andrea Kelly married him in 1996, and she remained married to him until 2009. But she filed for a restraining order in 2005, said that he abused her physically on multiple occasions, choking her out, beating the tar out of her when she asked for a divorce, driving her to the point of considering suicide. And her impetus to come forward publicly was hearing another woman make allegations on another show. Kind of, she heard an abused woman talk about how her husband was abusive, and that was kind of made it click in Andrea Kelly's mind that, hey, Robert's abusive.
Mm-hmm.
And then on January 3rd, 2019, I guess the reason why we're doing this on the show today, Lifetime began airing Surviving R.Kelly.
Yes.
And they spoke to more than 50 people, building on the reporting that DeRogatis did. Talking about everybody basically saying the same thing. R.Kelly is an abusive manipulator who enjoys having sex with children.
I think all of our opinions are kind of aligned about that.
Yeah, no, fuck pedophiles. Human garbage.
Another thing I'm frustrated about, and this is something that may go into deeper than what it needs to be, but we're kind of cutting it for time, so I'm just kind of going to make it quick on, about this. There are people defending R.Kelly, obviously so. Not more so defending, but calling out like the double standard, saying that, apparently that we wouldn't blame a white person for this. If this is a white guy, he would be like, cleared of all charges, which I completely disagree with. Once you throw the pedophile in the ring, they're done for.
It's
Kevin
time,
Spacey.
baby. It's go time, baby.
Kevin Spacey is a good example.
Look at what happened to Kevin Spacey. Look at what happened to Rob. Look at what happened to Jerry Sandusky. Look what happened to all the crazy here.
And-
he has sex with underage people.
And I like to point out
issue.
that for those, I don't know if any of you have watched the Boondocks, but there's a scene in one of the episodes where R.Kelly is at trial, and Huey points out that, yes, there's, despite what views are, yes, there is a case where black men are somewhat judged, but this is judged or misrepresented. But this is not a case here. This is a case of a pervert taking advantage of children and women, and does not deserve your support or respect. And that was nearly 10 years ago when that came out.
Preach it, Huey.
Yeah, preach it. It's just, I'm astonished at how people will defend defend anybody who's been accused of this kind of stuff, and will sit there and say, well, I've even seen people say, well, they were 14 and 15, they're grown ass women, they knew what they were doing. Make it reverse where it was like a woman, or he was like, a pedophile towards young boys. Yeah, you would probably see that in a different light, because apparently that's more horrible. But because pedophilia has levels, apparently. To me, it's all the fucking same. Like you have sex with a child, you're a fucking scumbag. But it's definitely one of those things that it surprisingly it's causing like a civil unrest about how people feel. It's causing, controversy, it's causing debate. And it says a lot about our society that nowadays, that when it's been proven that somebody is a pedophile, it's up for debate. That surprises me a lot now. I don't even know what to say to that.
Well, and we saw a lot of people.
What'd you say? You cut out.
Sorry. We saw a lot of people rushing to the defense of Chris Brown after put Rihanna in the hospital.
Right. And he too is a scumbag too.
By creatively expressing himself with his fists on her face. R.Kelly has a rabid and passionate fan base who are helping in doing things like doxing accusers and stymieing the legal proceedings in an effort to make sure that this pedophile goes free.
I mean, I think one of R. Kelly's appearances, there was a video where women were screaming at him to kidnap them or to enslave them, and I'm like, what in these shit? Are y'all serious?
Yeah.
Are y'all serious?
Bro, there was an article that just got released talking about how Dave Chappelle did a skit recently making fun of R. Kelly. And apparently R. Kelly sent his goons to start threatening Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
Well,
the guy is... He's one of America's most popular stars. I would make the statement that he might be the most popular R&B artist today. And what that means is he's going to have a lot of fans, a lot of young female fans who are very attracted to him and then want to join his fucking sex cult. But he's been intimidating witnesses.
Like an
his
animal.
fans have been intimidating witnesses. And I really do think that this might be it for R. Kelly. I think
done.
that
He's done.
I think that we're finally going to close the book, because before you could have pulled that shit in the courtroom in the Boondocks 10 years ago, but after Me Too, I guess one of the good byproducts of that movement is we are, more apt to call sexual assault, sexual violence what it is, and prosecute people. People are now actually starting to do what folks have been saying to do for decades, which is just go to the police.
Yeah.
And they are now, in the case of R. Kelly. They're going to the police with these allegations. They're making a court case. They're leaving a paper trail. And I think this is the beginning of the end for R. Kelly. I haven't seen Surviving R. Kelly. I'd like to.
Yeah, I'm going to try to watch
I'm
it.
very curious about it. I don't have a television. I just have the internet. So if they release it on a streaming platform, then absolutely I'll watch it. So if any of
I
the
believe it's on Hulu. I do think it's on Hulu.
Okay, cool. Well, if any of the two people listening that have any confirmation as to where that is, please let us know because we'd like to see it.
You can probably find a free movie club.
Yep. Hey, no, don't talk about that.
Look, first rule of free movie club.
No one, hey, I didn't say where you can find free movie club. I'm just saying, free movie club. If you know, you know. You feel me?
FBI.
Cool. Catch me if you can.
Yep. But I think, you know, I don't know. Bailey, you got any thoughts on R.Kelly?
Okay. Bottom line, R.Kelly is a disgusting human being. That's my 411. All right.
Indeed.
I don't gotta go into big details for me to explain that this dude is a fucking scumbag. Okay. I don't think I need to. I think the point is everywhere at this point that R.Kelly is in fact a complete and utter disgusting piece of a human. But his music's still good.
Well, I'm not a big R&B fan. Right, I should take that back. I do like me some R&B, but my R&B is, you know, oriented towards soul. Generally comes from the 60s, 70s. I love the shit out of some Motown.
Granted,
I love
granted, my two favorite songs by R.Kelly is "I Believe I Can Fly" and "Bump and Grind." But
And one of those is just your favorite because it was in Space Jam. Don't even lie.
it's true. It was,
Yes,
in
that's
fact,
very true.
Space
That's very
Jam.
true.
But yeah, so like, you know, besides that, you know, R.Kelly is just fucking stupid.
Yeah.
He's absolutely a stupid individual who is trying his damnedest to do damage control. But I mean, his main studio just got raided,
Oh yeah.
and
Yeah.
they found recordings. So like at this point, the evidence is on the table already. So I mean, give it a month, and they're gonna snatch his ass.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
It's like Riley said. It's like Riley said. It's the beginning of the end for R.Kelly.
Yeah, and I don't think history is going to look on him favorably. A lot of celebrities are already regretting doing collaborations with him. Lady Gaga made a statement.
No, she's still in trouble. But that's a story for another time.
Yeah,
He's gonna be, I think they got.
she's backpedaling hard. His daughter,
Who defended him madly at first.
yeah, is now coming out and calling her dad a monster.
But
I feel like we
Several
should have,
victims.
We should have Reject Island. You know, like instead of putting these people in a prison, you put them on an island, like Hunger Games style.
Let it be said that the first resident of Reject Island is Robert Sylvester Kelly of Chicago, Illinois.
We're gonna put him there. All right, he's gonna have like a bow and arrow, and he's gonna have to fight. Both.
no, he's got to make his bow and arrow. They've got to make their.
They gotta make their
Oh
stuff.
no, dude, pedo fights.
Pedophiles.
Ooh,
It's gonna be a
ooh.
battle.
Pedo fights.
It's like the Hunger Games, but with pedophiles.
We're gonna have
Okay,
R.Kelly,
so who
Jared from Subway.
who goes up against Kelly?
Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby fighting.
Cosby? Kelly versus Cosby?
Kevin Spacey.
No, Kevin Spacey versus.
No,
6ix9ine.
it's got to be a one-on-one. We need it.
One-on-one. Okay.
How about
Okay, so
Kevin
but
Spacey
who?
versus Jared from Subway.
Oh.
That's a good one. That's a good one. And then we'll have 6ix9ine versus himself. 6ix9ine will fight himself.
I'm thinking that, you know, that bracket is going to lead to Kelly fighting Jared from Subway, because Jared from Subway been working out. That's how he got so fit.
He's been getting fit. I've heard like he's been gaining on the pounds because of he's just fucking depressed.
Well, I mean, I don't know.
The last article I read about Jared was he'd been buying like all the honey buns in the commissary, and he's been hoarding them in his cell because he's scared and is just depressed.
I mean, look,
he can't
Kevin
get no
Spacey's
self-
old.
I feel like Kevin Spacey's gonna have like an Al Capone style prison cell.
Yeah.
He's gonna have a TV in there.
He's gonna have a gang with him too.
He's gonna have like a TV, double wide bed. He's gonna watch Cheers, like a marathon of Cheers.
Yeah, Kevin Spacey and the fucking Chomo Squad.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways,
But-
boys.
Yeah, I think this is all we got time for today. So,
Yeah.
if you made it this far, thank you.
We don't apologize for art.
We don't apologize for anything that doesn't need apologizing for. So we apologize for some things, but not all of them.
I apologize for my personality being too damn good for you. Everyone, anyone got anything they want to say to close out?
Be sure to smash that like button if you
Can we
liked it.
please get
Subscribe.
10 million likes.
If this video gets 5 likes, I will go to prison and fight Bill Cosby.
Okay, well, let me know when it gets uploaded so I can hit that like button then.
Anyways, ladies, gents, and random laughter, we will talk to you later.
All right.
Farewell, everyone. Have
Be
a
excellent to each other.
Wonderful day. Make sure you hit the like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon to be notified for our next podcast to be uploaded.
RAR XD.
Shut up. Farewell, everyone. Have a wonderful day.